Okay, what do we think about what comes to our mind after 6 months of this monsoon revolution in Bangladesh? Some of the words which I picked up, random feelings, everything. Bangladesh, anti-India, anti-Hindu, extra constitutional government, collapsing economy, sliding into anarchy. Just consider the fact that there are train strikes, bank strikes, oil strikes, trader strikes, services disruption, garment factories not working, a whole lot of things. And when you look at Bangladesh today, it's a throwback to the 70s or the 60s in our own country, where some part of the country was always on strike. I mean, there was never a point in time in those days when, strikes were not one corner of your newspaper, or if not the center. In summary, what do you say about Bangladesh today? Well, if I summarize and I put the cart before the horse, it is a country with a troubled past, a chaotic present, and probably an uncertain future. We don't know what's going to evolve in Bangladesh the way it's going. But like I said, what is it there for India in this? It's our, closest neighbor, 4,000 plus kilometers of border, with this kind of a feeling coming from there. How does India tackle this problem? Because for the past 4 to 5 months, a lot of analysis has been done as to what about Bangladesh. I think we've done that. It's time to start looking at India's interests in Bangladesh rather than Bangladesh interests in the neighborhood. In 71, we could take Bangladesh out of Pakistan. But, we talk of, refugee problem and all, the question is, have we taken, Pakistan out of Bangladesh? It's still there. That's the point which we have to really focus on. With this, General Hasnain, sir, all yours.
Thank you, Shankar. And thank you very much, Kasa and Ganashot, for this invitation. I always love speaking on Bangladesh whenever we get a chance. And with Ambassador Veena Sikri, it's a great pleasure indeed. As I was just outlining, sixth time perhaps in the last 1 month that we have spoken together. Great respect for her views. Let me jump straight into it. Jan Shankar and I did 1 or 2 programs, and Jan Shankar would recall how we got abused by people from Bangladesh. The maximum comments, and there were hundreds of comments on that particular YouTube video, and most of them were from Bangladesh, and very, very negative comments. That doesn't affect us, of course. We must state our piece. While I'm speaking, I'm aware that I'm being heard in Bangladesh. Lots of people are hearing me. And I want to start by telling people there and friends here that on the 5th of August, maybe a day later, I was on a particular channel. And I had friends from Bangladesh who were also on the channel. And they told me, and they were good friends, they told me very clearly, and I accepted it. They said, Ata bhai, you got it all wrong. You Indians got it all wrong. You all thought all this time we are looking for all kinds of development and this and that. What ultimately the man in the street, what everyone wants in Bangladesh is democracy. We did not get our democracy. We did not get our freedom. Right through these many years, 15 years with Awami League, with Sheikh Hasina, we have never been free. Okay, that was the perception. I asked them 6 months later, have you got your democracy? And have you got your development? Are you heading anywhere towards it? Everything you look at in Bangladesh is down today. Promises of elections 2026. We still don't know whether that will happen at all. Look at the face that Bangladesh has lost in the world. You were riding high, $41 billion of foreign exchange reserves.
Yes.
Today you're down to $15 billion of foreign exchange reserves. That is what you have lost. 35,000 jobs down suddenly out of your fantastic garments and fantastic clothing industry. That has happened overnight almost. And it's happening, it's continuing. Many factories are closing down. The economy, you were making progress of 10% increase in the corresponding quarter in 2023. In 24, in the same quarter, you were down to 1%. That is, you lost 9% out of your progress that you were making. So I wonder what you really got out of it. And at the end of it, what do people look at India for in Bangladesh? Friendly India. We don't have an eye on your territory. We don't have an eye on anything in Bangladesh. We don't buy anything for anything which is there in Bangladesh. Medical visas are available to you there. People come, get treated here. The progress which India has made, it's not that if India has gone into a huge revolution of success. We have had our progress, we've had our success, and we are willing to share that with our neighbors. And Bangladesh is a very, very important neighbor. We've done that. But at the end of it, I wonder what you think about going back to the very people who destroyed you. The very people who were involved in operations which involved rape and genocide of intellectuals. Have we forgotten that? I come from that generation of people who were awake night after night on the 23rd of March, 1971 and 25th of March, 1971. I was awake night after night. I remember getting the news on the radio at that time. And I was in empathy and I was in sympathy with what was happening there. I didn't know that you're going to go back to the very people who were seeking to destroy you. So one feels hurt here in India. And you see the approach that India has had in this. See the manner in which our Foreign Secretary came to Dhaka, respecting the sentiments in Dhaka. Not a word out of place. Everything which has been stated by the government of India has been stated clearly with the correct choice of words. Not a strong word, not a strong sentiment. We know you have had a problem. We know you have had a problem. Perhaps our only fault, while discussing with you, which we admitted many times, was that we were not in touch with every segment of the people. We were in touch with the government at that time. And that is what usually happens over periods of time. That when governments remain in power for long, it is only with the government that you get involved and not so much with the people. As such, we can have excellent relations with any government which is there in Bangladesh. So, but the fact that you are attempting to go back in time, turn the clock around and bring in the very people and have that kind of a relationship with them, a security relationship with them, for what reason is very difficult for us to fathom. If you send delegations to Pakistan, it's very good. You've sent officers to Pakistan also earlier for courses, etc. And that's continuing. But if you suddenly send a high-level delegation for some particular purpose, we don't know. We can only fathom a guess for that, nothing else. You invite a delegation from them, and if that delegation is something which is coming to train you, is coming to cooperate with you in any way, in some good ways, it would be a very welcome thing. But when you bring an intelligence-related organization to your country from Pakistan, what should be the response of India? And particularly when you choose to take it to certain places in your country from where you know that a certain message is going to emanate, what would India do? When you send them to Chittagong or to Rangpur or places like that, we are all aware, we are all educated people. We all understand and think. We have military experience. And we know why all this is being done, to project to us. But India, it doesn't get perturbed by it. It doesn't get agitated by it. Because we know that our relationship with you goes back to it's a blood-related relationship. We shed blood together. Our army and your army, your people, the great Mukti Yodhas all got together, and that is where things happen. We don't go into the field talking that we are the ones who got you independence. No. The moment we realized that there was a sensitivity to this issue, we stopped talking about it. I know personally at every place where I have met my friends from your great country, I have made very, very sensitive about these aspects. So to the end of the day, when the government of Bangladesh does not take it upon itself to protect the minorities, does not take it upon itself to make gestures which are essentially friendly gestures. Obviously, what do we perceive in India? And India has not taken a step out of turn. It has made sure that everything it has done today has been well above board. At the end, I have a few minutes left. I would just like to outline a few measures that I could recommend to the government of India at this particular time. I want to make sure that we continue the policy. I want to compliment the government of India, the manner in which it has handled this whole issue. It has not said a word out of place. Everything has been right. The gestures, the timings, everything has been right. For starters, I think we should remain in touch with the State Department in the United States where things are changing, right? We are aware of that the previous administration in the United States of America was perhaps involved in whatever events happened in this part of the subcontinent here. We should be in touch with the new administration to make sure that our policies are in convergence with each other. The Indian strategic community must wargame this situation. We are already doing it through various seminars, but I think something a little more focused needs to be brought together to determine the best options which we need to diplomatically execute. We must not lose contact with the elements who have been, sort of overthrown, the Awami League and everyone. We need to be friends with everyone. Someone may recommend that we should be making an outreach to the opposition parties coming into power now. I would strongly recommend we should make an outreach to everyone. The real danger is in the rising tide of Islamic radicalism, what is known as Islamism. A fuller analysis of this is needed. There are lots of people in India who are extremely well educated. I'm sure Siddharth Saab is very, very well educated, and he'll probably tell us more about this. If we have to run social media campaigns, we must not be ascetic. These should be well educated, well conceived social media campaigns which convey the government of India's correct approach to the people in Bangladesh and the people in India. The importance of securing the interests of the minorities in Bangladesh cannot be overplayed. The people of India expect the government to be proactive about this, and Mohammed Yunus Saab to stop shedding tears for some youth killed in violent protests on the 5th of August and start shedding some tears for the minorities also who have also unfortunately lost their lives. The BSF, looking forward to the meeting coming up, the BSF is remaining in close touch, handling the border situation extremely well. This aspect of the fencing is an irritant, and that needs to be resolved at the earliest. Bangladesh's economy will tank. In the manner in which it is going, it will tank. And this is something which with India should be in consultation with Bangladesh, because we cannot allow it, we cannot afford to allow the Bangladesh economy to tank. I think I will stop here because there are many other things one could recommend, but I have run out of time, and I think I've conveyed my point adequately. Thank you very much, and Jai Hind.
Thanks a lot, sir. I think you made some very, very important points, but the most important point is you sent a direct message to the people of Bangladesh and their rulers, however regular, irregular, constitutional, or otherwise they are. Right. And the next point which you put across is about, you know, uh, the people of Bangladesh are exhibiting a collective amnesia of the genocide of Bangladesh by Pakistan. And when they go back to Pakistan today, in fact, I must remind everyone, I must tell everyone, I put out a offbeat video and collecting information, little haphazard but factual, about how this entire business of genocide in Bangladesh started. It actually didn't start with a genocide like General Hasnain would tell. It started with a cyclone in 1970. And right, and I outlined that and how the Pakistanis just let people die in that cyclone without even giving them any food. In fact, they went to the extent of stopping India from giving aid to them. And now these people are going back to the same country for aid. I don't know what they'll give, because that country itself needs aid, and both are in the same league as far as the suspended US aid is concerned. Okay. The next thing, sir, is as far as India is concerned, we should be aware and we should anticipate this economy tanking. And how are you going to react to a tanking economy in Bangladesh? Because that's going to have effects. It's going to be having second order effects here. And connect it up with what General Gautam Murthy said about the refugee situation. Uh, and then, of course, rising Islamism. I think it's risen quite a bit. How are you going to tackle this is a major issue. You spoke about wargaming the situation. I dare say it's not only think tanks who are wargaming the situation. On ground, also, a certain number of exercises have been carried out, skeletal exercises, but I think that message has gone across. And we have to look after the minorities in Bangladesh. I could go on and with much more, but these are the important issues. The most important issue, I reiterate, is a direct message to Bangladeshis who are live and spewing out some bad comments already. And more will come as we go by. Sir, you mentioned, I mean, what has come out today is that in our talk, there is a security situation developing around Bangladesh. Whether you call it refugees, whether you call it the Pak ISI and Bangladesh combined, who have melted into the border and who might infuse in across. There are other issues also. What are the security steps we should take uh, to handle the situation without making it too militaristic? Because
Thank you,
I'm
John
not
Shankar.
saying too militaristic. I'm not saying too militaristic because, as we all know, there's no military option fully in Bangladesh. In fact, there's no military option at all. But there's a
Thank you, John.
security issues. Yeah, please, sir.
Thank you, John Shankar. I think that's a very good question because you've actually brought in a lot of things from what is being mentioned in the comments, which I can see on my right. But most of these comments are obviously out of context. People are not getting right. And they are essentially trying to target each other here and there. But I think you've hit the right question, absolutely. And we have spoken about this often. Ambassador Veena Sikri knows my views on this. We have spoken at the India Habitat Center in a couple of seminars on this. I always start by saying Pakistan never left Dhaka. When 93,000 prisoners were taken away by India after 1971, all of us, the rest of the world, imagined that now India had nothing to do. Now there was total peace here, and this eastern flank, there was no worry at all. Everything now shifted to the west. That's not true. There were a lot of worries. And we knew that Pakistan continued its interest there. It left behind a lot of people, which were the so-called famous Bihari Muslims, as they were called in those days. Many of them remained there. Many of them have tried to come away through the Indo-Bangladesh border, and we've seen how many of them we have captured on the western borders while trying to get into Pakistan at that time. Right? So, I mean, a Pakistani interest was always embedded there. That has come alive today. What we can see is that has come alive. We are looking at opportunities. Those opportunities have not translated entirely into situations which they can exploit yet. You see, under Sheikh Hasina, or whatever you want to say, under the government of Bangladesh, over the last 15 years, a lot had been achieved in terms of security. The traditional things that we were always looking at, the possibility of, support to insurgency and turbulence in the northeastern states, the kind of sanctuaries given to many of the separatist leaders who came in from the northeast inside Bangladesh, support in terms of material goods, psychological support, political support. The typical proxy war kind of things were happening in the past, but all that came to an end over the last 15 years. Can that all start again immediately? To my mind, I think it may be a little premature on our part to sort of say straight away, yes, everything is going to go wrong here. No, not necessarily. I still have a lot of trust in the Bangladesh army. I have worked with them. I find that although there may be a lot of rogue elements within, the number of good, stable people, sensible people who know what is good for Bangladesh outnumbers those rogues completely. And therefore, we can still do good business on security with Bangladesh to ensure the situation does not deteriorate. Many times people feel tempted to talk about the large Bangladesh army, 10-division army. I do not like to bring this issue up at all, because I do not want to send a wrong kind of signals on this to say that we fear anything by the Bangladesh army as far as we are concerned. I've given this example many times in many of the talks I've given at the India Habitat Center or the IIC, that we call Pakistan Nark in our war games. We call China Chandal in our war games. The forces of hell, the forces of the devil. We never have a name given to Bangladesh. We have always kept Bangladesh right up there on a pedestal as a friend. And we jointly created the state, the country of the nation. And we are proud of that fact, and we are proud of our relationship with the Bangladesh armed forces. So I don't think at this stage yet there is anything worrisome as such, except the fact that these opportunities are being sought by Pakistan. And I do not like to see that happening. I don't want to see a manifestation of this beyond this state. I would have been very happy even if this ISI delegation came to Dhaka and went away, it was still okay. Coming to Rangpur got my goat. Coming to Chittagong left me in a slightly disappointed state, because these are subtle messages being sent to us. We all recognize it. We know what is where the vulnerabilities are, etc. We all know it. So you are trying to send us a message through that. That is not good. That's not something which I appreciate. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir.